The small town of Ravenswood sat nestled between thick forests and steep hills, shrouded in perpetual mist even on the brightest days. The town was known for its eerie legends, and none more chilling than the tale of the Midnight Mirror. According to folklore, a cursed mirror had been hidden away for centuries to prevent its dark power from claiming more victims. It was said that whoever gazed into the mirror at midnight would see something unspeakable, their own reflection twisted into a horrifying vision of their worst fear. Some said those who dared to look were never the same again. The legend had always been dismissed by locals as nothing more than a ghost story, but 17-year-old Emma Whittaker was not like most of the townsfolk. She had a fascination for all things mysterious and macabre. When her best friend, Liam, found what they believed to be the infamous midnight mirror in the dusty attic of his late grandmother's house, Emma's curiosity ignited. "We have to test it," Emma insisted one evening as they gathered in Liam's dimly lit attic. "If we prove it's just a myth, we'll be the first ones to debunk Ravenswood's greatest legend." Liam was hesitant. "What if it's not just a myth?" Emma laughed. "Come on, you don't believe in this stuff, do you?" Reluctantly, Liam agreed. As the clock neared midnight, they positioned the mirror on a rickety wooden stand and sat cross-legged before it, flashlights off. The only light came from the moon, streaming through the cracked attic window. "Ready?" Emma whispered, her voice trembling despite her bravado. Liam nodded. "Let's get this over with." They watched as the clock struck 12. The attic filled with an oppressive silence, thick and heavy. Emma leaned closer to the mirror, her breath fogging up the glass. For a few moments, all she saw was her own reflection, pale and wide-eyed. Then the reflection changed. Emma's breath caught in her throat. The figure in the mirror wasn't her anymore, it was twisted, monstrous. Its eyes glowed red, and its mouth curled into a grotesque grin. Beside her, Liam's reflection did the same, his mirror itself stretching into a nightmarish parody. "Liam, do you see that?" Emma gasped. Liam didn't respond. He sat motionless, his eyes locked on the mirror. Emma reached out to shake him, but her hand froze mid-air. The reflection, her reflection, moved independently, leaning forward until it pressed its twisted face against the other side of the glass. It spoke, its voice a distorted mockery of her own. "Come closer, Emma. Let's trade places." Terrified, Emma scrambled backward. The attic swirled around her, shadows stretching and twisting. Liam finally snapped out of his trance and grabbed her arm, pulling her away from the mirror. "We need to get out of here," he shouted. They bolted down the attic stairs, the sound of laughter, their own distorted voices, echoing behind them. Slamming the attic door shut, they pressed their backs against it, panting. "What was that?" Liam stammered. Emma shook her head. "I don't know, but we're never going near that thing again." But the horror wasn't over. The next morning, Emma woke up feeling off. The world seemed slightly skewed, as if everything were just a degree out of place. At school, her friends stared at her strangely, and even Liam kept his distance. When she caught her reflection in a window, her stomach churned. The face looking back wasn't entirely hers. The eyes were a fraction too wide, the smile just a bit too sharp. That night, unable to bear the gnawing unease, Emma returned to the attic alone. She had to face the mirror, to make sure what she saw was real, or not. As midnight approached, the shadows deepened. Emma stood before the mirror, heart pounding. Her reflection grinned back at her, malevolent and knowing. "It's time," it whispered. The glass rippled like water. Before Emma could react, a hand shot out, cold and strong, dragging her into the mirror. She screamed, but no sound escaped. Her vision blurred, darkness swallowing her whole. When she opened her eyes, she was on the other side of the glass. Staring out into the attic where her reflection, now in her body, stood grinning triumphantly. "Have fun in here," it mocked. "I'll take good care of your life." Emma pounded on the glass, but it was solid as stone. Trapped, she watched helplessly as her doppelganger turned off the lights and walked away, leaving her alone in the cold, dark void. The twist came when days passed in Ravenswood, and Emma seemed happier, more confident, even charming, a complete contrast to the shy, curious girl everyone knew. No one suspected the truth except Liam. One night, he confronted Emma after catching glimpses of her strange behavior. "You're not Emma," he accused. "What are you?" The thing wearing Emma's face smiled slyly. "You should have looked closer, Liam. The mirror never lies." Terrified, Liam realized the only way to save his friend was to confront the mirror again. But the question lingered, could he rescue Emma without losing himself? As he ascended to the attic, determination in his heart, Liam didn't notice his own reflection already waiting for him, grinning darkly from the shadows. He stopped at the threshold, the mirror's surface shimmering ominously. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside the attic, oblivious to the shifting whispers filling the air. His reflection's eyes gleamed with sinister delight as Liam took a hesitant step closer. The mirror rippled again, beckoning. "Come, Liam," it called in Emma's voice, distorted yet familiar. "There's still room for one more." Determined, Liam clenched his fists. "I'm getting Emma back," he growled. His reflection laughed, a cacophony of distorted echoes filling the room. Shadows coiled around the edges of the mirror, twisting into grotesque forms. "You'll never leave once you cross over," it taunted. But Liam stood firm. "I'll find a way." The mirror pulsed, and with a blinding flash, Liam disappeared, leaving only a faint whisper echoing in the attic, "Welcome to your reflection." Unseen by anyone in Ravenswood, two sets of eyes now watched from within, waiting, biding their time for the next visitor to test the mirror's curse.